in the first half an hour of play today, and that brings the Australian captain, Stevesmith, to the crease. Have a look at that average, just under 60. 1300s for Stevesmith in only 41 matches. 71 in the first test in Wellington. Australia still trail by 303. Here's Trent Boult.
Really good. Every chance. Sort of pitch that's good enough to bat on. You want to make sure that when you...
I'm getting right across the line, so that'll encourage Trent Boult to try and bring that back along and hit him in front.
The other thing that wicket does for the bowling unit, because they had been looking to get it up there, bring him.
Yeah, that's it. That line, isn't it, to the left-handers? That fifth stump line, he just unsure, Usman Khawaja, he doesn't get as far forward. We highlighted Joe Burns, you highlighted it, Mark, how far forward he was, how good a stride he got in. Khawaja completely different. So the two black spots.
Good over from Trent Boult. Australia 67 for 2.
Pretty well played. They'd set a trap, but Stevesmith was too good for it. But a leg slip in, cleared him with ease.
I watched him practicing this shot this morning, hitting a ball for 15-20 minutes, playing the pull shot into the net. Probably expecting a bit of that sort of tactic.
Six off the over, 77 for 2.
Position teams are trying to make him hit to the offside, very proficient at hitting the ball on the onside. That was a very good shot.
Imagine the banter from Lilly and Pascoe.
Especially when they're dropping catches off each other at slip. Yeah, it was a interesting afternoon's cricket.
It's not that difficult.
Neither's the cover drive at the moment for Stevesmith. It might not get to the rope. But 3 in a row is going to produce 7 runs for him. And Australia have the final say of this first hour, 93 for 2.
Southie to continue.
Stevesmith, I know.
Oh, lovely. Beautiful timing, straight down the ground, and it'll race away for 4.
Well, that's the beauty of his technique, Stevesmith. He does walk around the crease and you see the bat sort of waving a bit. It starts out at gully, then it straightens up, but he plays straight. And that's the key to his batting early on. He likes to give it the full face and he likes to hit in the V. And when you're walking across the off stump, you've got to make sure you do that.
You look at the plan. They've got a catching mid-wicket to Stevesmith. Only 2 on the offside, a very wide mid-off. So they're asking Stevesmith to drive. They don't mind bowling full to him early on. We saw in the one-day series having success there. They don't want to get too wide outside off stump. But with the catching mid-wicket, it suggests that they want to be targeting into off stump.
I tell you what he would be loving though. He's got no mid-off. Because the mid-off is a roundabout cover. You see it'll just move back around to cover the mid-off. So he'll be thinking, right, anything up on off stump, I'm just going to hit straight, which is perfect. Comes into his hitting zone.
Get that one past.
The only thing you could suggest for that is New Zealand want him to try and play straight. And because his hands can be wide at times, there's a wee hole in there that they're trying to exploit, whether it nips back and hits the off stump. Good example there of the attack, the bounce height, and the left alone, the higher ones. So he's very organised today, Stevesmith.
A lot of people always say to me, gee, Stevesmith, you look at him and he's fidgety and he grabs his helmet and he moves his bat, moves his shirt. You think he spends a lot of energy doing that, but he wouldn't even know that he's doing that. He's that type of player. David Warner's like that. He, with his gloves, he takes them off, puts them back on, unstraps it, straps it back up. That's just his normal idiosyncrasies.
Glad you said that word. I was practicing it. Idiosyncrasies. Brendan McCullum's big for it as well. Taps his pads, moves around a lot. Go on, and his natural length gets shorter and shorter.
Straight again. Timed well enough on this occasion. Just be hauled in by Matt Henry. It was work from Henry and from Latham once again.
Well, Wagner's just hoping the ball will swing there for you. That's why you're pitching it up. But when it's not swinging, you run into a little bit of trouble. Got to bring that length back there. It's just sliding across Stephen Smith, and he knows that he can sort of hit through the line.
.111 for 2. That's gone through mid-off as well. Lovely piece of timing. So runs flowing a little easier now for Australia.
Well, it's a driving score at the moment, isn't it? New Zealand bowlers trying to bowl very full. Australian batsmen just being nice and patient.
Neil Wagner was going to set off in hot pursuit of that. Charging in, he's in the middle of an aggressive spell. He's putting everything into it. He probably doesn't want to be doing too much of his own fielding.
Well, we're pointing to the boundary.
Some interest, but that was missing off stump. Without any swing, it's going to be very, very hard for Bolt to get all the pieces right to pick up an LBW.
Initially, I thought there might have been a little inside edge, but just catches on the back pad. But Stephen Smith's so far across his stumps that it's clearly missing off.
Through. Beautiful shot. Don't worry about running for that. That has gone all the way along this carpet.
Long half volley. It's the way you'd describe this. Steve Smith just has to lean on it. Checks the drive. The bats these days are far too good to miss out on that. Once that was in the gap, fieldsman really just had to go and pick it up and throw it back. But I agree, yeah, you can't just keep running in and trying the same thing, don't you? There needs to be a change of plan. The cutter bounces. It's the reason we're all now questioning the balance of this New Zealand side without the spinner. There was a reluctance to want to play Mark Craig, and therefore maybe they should have had Ish Sodhi down here ready to go, because if Australia gets in, there's not a lot of variety.
It's a Harbour. I mean, Anderson's only bowled one over. He bowled quite well, I thought, in Wellington.
Out after his performances of late.
Well, whenever you pick a side, you've got to work out how you're going to take 20 wickets. And I always think you got to always play a spinner. It's hard to play all quick bowlers over 5 days, because pitches wear it, and you should know this pitch is going to flatten out or offer a bit to the spinner at the back end. It's just hard for a skipper to go into it without a spinner, I reckon. We want to get through the overs as well. You want to give quick bowlers a break, all that variety. Two off the over, 157 for 2. Through this time as well. It's nearly a repeat of the over before, and it's pretty well timed from Stephen Smith. It's a 6th boundary.
Exquisite timing. Once again, finds the gap. Not a genuine half volley, but It's the one thing he does well. It's through the line. Doesn't matter how big these boundaries are because it's a long way out there. It's just quickening up under the sun.
I just wonder if Trent Boult will go around the wicket to Stephen Smith. This has changed the angle, try and shake the ball away a little bit. He's moving so well, Stephen Smith, and picking up that line and length. Sometimes a change of the angle for the left armour just around the wicket ball, one side of the pitch, bringing it back into off stump, commits the batsman to play a bit. He's got 2 out and deep to Stephen Smith, and most of the bowlers have had that, but they haven't bowled that short one at all. Haven't really tried to force him back with a high bouncer. And look for 2. You'd have to be quick though. And he's very quick. Bowler's in, direct hit, he'll be in trouble. Oh, I reckon he was gone. He looked a little bit slow on the turn, Joey Burns.
Oh, well and truly gone with a direct hit. Nichols was the fielder. Turned and gone. If this hits, it's miles away though.
Well, Trent Boult probably had enough time to get back to the stump. See, look at that. It's not too far away.
Not now.
When you've got a team 163 for 2, you've got to make the most of those half chances, and that was an opportunity.
He wasn't interested at all, was he, Trent Boult?
Look for 2 again. Don't think he'll go. Yeah, probably a good choice. That's why I think sometimes with Trent Boult, just a variation of around the wicket, you can see Stephen Smith just moving across on length and working it through the leg side and then works it through the offside. It's annoying for a bowler. Sometimes you like to build up pressure on one batsman and not let them rotate.
And he has out at deep backward square.
Yeah, I don't mind that. You've always got to let the batsman aware that you've always got something up your sleeve. Get them guessing, pushes forward, sees it and plays it pretty well, mind you. But you've always got to keep that in the back of your mind so the batsmen are always thinking.
And I think that's a sign of a class batsman too, which Steve Smith obviously is that he can use the predictability of this field to know what the tactics are of the bowlers.
That one's just wide of the crease there from Anderson, and then pushed it out a bit wider as well. So using the crease nicely. Smith was good. I see him just a little bit wider there.
Steve Smith's pouncing on length, so anything foolish he looks to drive. It's all about patience for Anderson. Good bouncer around about the badge is fine. Apart from that, it's 6-8 inches wide of off stump on a good length.
In the works, a full Yorker on leg stump might be an option.
That'll bring the 50 up for the Australian skipper. He's been very patient this morning, Stephen Smith. '16th Test 50. Made 71 in the first test.
That's a boundary. Beautifully worked. Really was, some might say, an edge, but Kane Williamson will know that when you play with soft hands, you can get this benefit here. Only one slip in place, just a little bit of width. just soft hands and angling it down to that area.
I think Tim Southey's trying to reverse. Small amount of shape coming in towards Smith. No danger for him. He plays it beautifully. But maybe we can get a look at when Southey puts the ball in the hand to see which side the shiny side is. It's an excellent example.
Gets it through. And away to the boundary for 4.
Well, the margin of error is so slight. I mean, you're trying to block off boundaries, you're trying to force the mistake, but as soon as you just don't get it exactly right, the batting has been top quality, particularly from Stephen Smith. He can hit the ball to all quadrants, so you've got to be spot on with your deliveries.
It's the ICC Test rankings. There's Stephen Smith at the top there. Joe Root from England not far behind. Kane Williamson in at number 3. Warner.
Had it taken 4.5 days. Oh!
It's hit him.
Oh!
Dead ball.
He's down. Hopefully all right. Didn't quite bounce. It's got him in the side of the helmet. I think it's knocked him around a little bit.
Yeah, he's got to take a moment or two here. In fact, they might take an early tee here. They might just take an early tee, and I think they've got reason to do that. That was nasty. That was really nasty, and I'll tell you how nasty it was. The ball flew a long way from that impact point out towards the point region. It didn't glance off his helmet. It cannoned into it, and he absorbed the full impact of that on his head. Back of his head. And so that to me, you know, it flies. If it glances backwards, it means it doesn't get the full impact. But there, right there, gets the full impact, and it flew. It absolutely flew for a long way.
Yeah, and he doesn't have that back of the helmet there, that black padding that the newer helmets have.
For a start, I think he got quite afraid when he realised he'd got himself in a pickle. And then I can promise you, while those helmets have padding in them, they're not crash helmets. It really does smart. It hurts. It stuns you. And often you get a delayed reaction as well.
Well, I think they should just take tee now. We're on the stroke of tee. I think they should. They're going to have such a break now while they change helmets and things. They should just have the tee break.
It's the doctor at the team doctor. Yeah, gee, it doesn't look good when they just turn your head and it exposes the back of the ear there.
You're right. You're right. You know, and his. To be fair, Stephen Smith, the cardinal rule is if you don't take, all I can assume is that he lost it. He lost it because the really best players don't take their eye off the ball. And Neil Wagner knew a straight. He was the first one there. Oh, to show a great deal of concern. And, you know, it didn't look good, I've got to say.
Well, it's after the tea time cut-off now, isn't it? No, I mean, in the best interest of sportsmanship, New Zealand would go off, but they probably have a small interest in maybe getting the next few deliveries at him while he's a little bit unsettled.
Well, he's been hit twice. Once in the head and he got one in the rib.
What's he going to dish up?
That's a good shot from Stephen Smith, straight into it, in line, played it. Might be thinking, that's it, I'm not ducking, I'm going to play it and get in line. Often when you get in line to pull the ball, you watch it all the way and you very rarely don't get hit because you can sway out of the road. It's just where you lose it and you turn your head at the last second and he's not really tall, so it's not steep bounce.
This time taken fine. Just using the pace of the ball.
Yes, taken off the stumps, moves across his stump, Stephen Smith, as we've talked about. It just lets the ball come onto the bat and eases that nice and fine. The new hard ball races away. So no dramas there. So the scoreboard certainly ticking over against this new ball.
Partnership up to 190. It's a lovely shot. Another boundary. And Steve Smith now moves through to 89.
Quite something.
Oh, and then a boundary. Beautiful shot from Stephen Smith. That takes him to 99. 278 for 2. 20 minutes to go back into the change room. On the other side of tees. Look good, Stephen Smith. He's bowled well, Corey Anderson, today, without luck. He's had good energy. He's got the ball in the right area. Just hasn't done enough for him. He's beaten the back occasionally. Much more he can do. Reese is set up nicely for him, coming from left to right of the day. Since then, it's been some good batting. Partnership 214.
Over.
281 for 2. And that's through. And that's 100 for Stephen Smith. It's his 14th Test 100. He's second against New Zealand. And what a way to bring it up with a boundary.
Yeah, quality. You could see the determination in Stephen Smith's eyes when he came out to bat. He was busy from ball one in a quality 100. And he's getting a very good round of applause too from this capacity crowd here at Hagley Oval.
Terrific cricketer. A little bit risky how he brought it up. There's just one shot of many. Quite safe in the end, but throwing those 2 catches as well that he took in the first innings. Just a tremendous cricketer.
6th century as a captain in 11 Test matches. Averaging 87 as a skipper. And he moved up the order to 3 too. A couple of those. Hasn't he enjoyed it? Great support from the rest of the team and all the support staff there.
Yeah, it's 100 from both captains. The Test match so far. Different hundreds, I would say, but nonetheless important.
Over 41 matches, that average is staggeringly good. I mean, it's a career now that stacks up.
And that's through the gap. Just really well timed from Stephen Smith. He didn't try and hit it too hard. Happy to take 3. It's a really good display of batting. Patience, timing.
And that's not flashes over the slips, it's deflections. Good deflector of the...
Oh, that's whipped through the leg side. Don't worry about running for that. That'll get to the rope. It's a long outfield here at Hagley Oval, but it's a quick one.
Called that one early too, didn't you, VJ? Nice work. Yeah, once again, just weights, hits. And now you can have as many pre-movements as you like. You can have a different technique. You can bat left handed, right handed, whatever you want to do. You want to be a back foot player, front foot player. But the key is that ability to play the ball late. Watch it, see it early, and then play the stroke as late as you can. And that is a trait common to all successful batsmen.
Yeah, I don't know whether you're going to have much success sliding into advertising hoardings like that. At the end, the ball was already over the boundary by the time Corey Anderson decided to dive. Doesn't look too well either. He's got up a little bit. It's already over the boundary. Just leave it.
Especially for a bowler too. I don't like your bowlers doing that. Because you need them. You need them bowling.
One.
Just a quiet disclaimer too, if I might.
Slashed outside of off stump. It'll be a bit of a challenge, and it will be another boundary. 15th boundary for Steven Smith. Takes him to 125. Partnership 262 now. The ball has just slid across Steven Smith all day from Trent Boult. It hasn't really come back in at all. They've tried to take him wider. They've tried to bowl outside the off stump. And he's been equal to the task, Steven Smith.
Wait. No, mate.
And climbing.
Well, that's a rare bad shot from Steven Smith. It's a boundary. And that's a partnership record as well. 266. There it is, third wicket.
Wait.
100 overs completed, 3 full out at mid-off or deep mid-wicket. Trying to sort of buy a wicket. Just see how determined Oh, beautifully played. Is wide outside off stump. He walks across, just opens the face.
350 runs now on board for
Australia's 350 on the board now with that shot. One of the few holes that McCullum's left on the offside. That third man, he's just got the one fieldsman out and he's at deep point. So
In the air, they got another one with a pull shot. This time it's Smith. The short ball, after hours and hours of toil, has finally worked.
What an incredible situation. Instant replay from Joe Burns to Steve Smith. New Zealand celebrate. The plan has worked again. Short bowling, very strong onside field. Not a terrible shot, but there's a fielder there. And takes a good catch. Wagner celebrates.
Smith goes for 138. It's 4 down, finally. 357 on the board.